What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Digging back into the 87 250. Trying to get this front end done. Get it all squared away so it doesn't sound like this. I mean, sounds like a piece of shit quad rolling through the woods. And we don't need that kind of exposure. I want to let you know, thank you for subscribing. I like reading the comments. I really like the, you sharing your experiences that you've had with quads. And some of them are more painful than others when we're working on our projects. And, misery loves company. Found my misery, found my company. All right, let's get into it. We got our tie rod ends, hardware. We have the steering stem bushing, bearings, tie rods, our fancy dancy front shocks. These are just some air shocks, nothing too expensive, but it will improve from 1987. These are all the bushings for the A-arms, our calipers, master cylinder, new rotors, hardware, and hub bearings and seals. So the hub bearings are junk. Now I'll show you the play in the A-arms. So just watch the movement, the play in it. I thought this screw was going to be about an hour and a half. So what I just did there, that was a double wrenching technique. You put the wrench on, you take the loop end on one, and just slide it over, and you're going to pry. You're going to use leverage, just like that. So essentially, I just made the wrench twice as long. So that was the help braking loop. That was almost too easy. want to show doing this whole side because it's basically the same thing. I took it off in the same order. Now I'm going to show you the steering stem. The stem has a lot of play in it. So we're going to change the bushing behind here, if there's even one left. And then all the bearings inside of here. Do right now. There's a castle nut underneath here. So I got to get the cotter pin out, take the castle nut off, loosen this up. And I'm pretty sure I could do all this without really taking apart the entire handlebars and seal. So I'm gonna get this cleaned out. Like a C-clip or something in here holding the bearing down. Got it. Broke it, but got it. The mess, the old dirt since the 80s falling out of this thing. Got the bearings out, or the bearing out. That was the biggest pain in the ass of this entire front end so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of the difference between the new parts and the old parts. So we'll start with the rotor. So you can see this rotor, it's seen some metal on metal, but all in all, it's not too bad. Like, I would reuse this, but I ended up picking up a new set on eBay. I think these cost like, I don't know, with the rear one, maybe 25 bucks. Or with the rear one, maybe 45 bucks. So you can really see they're not too bad. We're still going to replace them. Going to put some fresh rotors on. The shock. I'm just going to show you one of the shocks. So you can see how rusted it all is. The bushing. I mean, look at that. The top one. The top one wiggles. It just... all that is just loose stuff. So when you have parts that are supposed to be moving and other parts that are not supposed to be moving, you're just going to get too much. So everything's moving around. So no bushing movement. Zero. So when you got everything, you start getting all that chatter, and that's what we've been dealing with. Here's the old steering stem bushing. You could just kind of note how thin it is compared to the new one. So the new one's thicker. It's less worn out. See if this bearing's still hot. Yes. So here's the bearing out of the bottom of the steering stem. Got that pulled out. Here's what's left of the C-clip. I'll have to get a new one of them. C-clip. The bearing covers, or the seals. And then here's the new one. New bearing, sealed bearing, and new seals. So these few parts, that's going to make a big difference in that front end. I mean, this bearing is toast. And especially since I cooked it. Oh, what else we got? Oh, we got tie rod. Here you go. So here's what a tie rod's supposed to look like. See how it looks in the camera. So you can see the tie rod straight. Check out this one. Trying to show you how crooked it is. I mean, she's okay if it's a little crooked, but not that crooked. How's that angle for a bent tie rod? So once we throw in a straight one, it'll be much better. So what I'll do with the tie rods, I'll measure end to end, and that'll give me a ballpark for each one when I put these ends on. And you kind of see, these are nice and stiff and strong. These are just stuck and crap, but it's bent. So you'll never get a great alignment with that. You'll never go straight. I'll show you one more thing. I'm just going to show you one ball joint, but they're all in really good shape. I mean, this just blows me away. There's no added movement. There's no cracks. Nothing. None of the boots are cracked or broken. It's crazy. 35, 36 years old this bike is. And I don't have to replace that part. We will be replacing all these. So you can just see if it slides out. They're just worn out. You can see the groove. You know, you see the groove. Worn out. Worn out. So we'll bust these apart on all 4 of them. Put in all fresh new ones. Do the tie rods. And then we'll start assembly. So to kind of set the tie rods to basically give me a pretty good starting point, I didn't go with the bent one. So I went with the one that's straighter. This one's still a little tweaked too. But I at least want to get the rod ends close to the length, and then we could do our fine-tuning adjustment once it's on there. Really, ultimately, it just makes it a little less work. And that's what we're always looking for. So we are going to use anti-seize. We're going to put anti-seize on these threads. I'm going to put our ends on. So, I got anti-seize all over my hand. That means it ends up all over you in a minute. If you don't know, now you know. Okay. Now, you got regular thread and you got reverse thread. See, it doesn't want to screw. Now it does. So take it right to the pinch bolt. Put the other side on. So put them both facing the same direction. I'll just put a little bit of pressure on with the pinch bolt just to hold it in place. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. All right, these are the ones we're going to hold on to. You never know when you might need to switch to a shorter turning radius, you know, maybe for like those tighter woods. So definitely save these. Now we're going to jump in doing our A-arm bushings. Just going to put it in the vise to help hold it for me. See if we can just kind of pull some of this apart. See how crusty everything is. So I'm trying to show you what I'm actually doing. Right inside here, there's a thin little clip. There's gonna be one on this side, one on the other side, and that'll help get the bearing out. You just gotta find a way to try and get underneath it to pop it out. So for me to get this, I ended up taking my little screwdriver. I made it real pointy. And it seems to be enough to get down in here and get it to pop out. Look at that. You just saw that live. Boom. If you don't have the tool, make the tool. Now I'm going to whack that out. That's probably what she said. Got all the pieces falling off. There it is. It's out. So okay, I'm not going to show you every single A-arm, taking it all apart. I tried showing different angles of getting these clips out and then, you know, hitting the bearing out, but really I couldn't find a good one. All you saw were my hands, or I hit the camera with the tool, or the back of my head, and that's just kind of bad for the entertainment side of things. But I will show you how to install. Now, this is an all balls kit, upper or lower A-arm, bushing, bearings, the seals, and those aggravating little clips. The cool thing is that this is a 1987 250X, but this kit is good for the upper or lower A-arms from an 87 250X all the way to an 09 700X. So it's pretty cool that Honda really kind of stayed true to that. That really makes replacement a lot easier for all of us. And by me just kind of showing this a little bit, it may be an 87, but this is really what you would do on any of those quads. So here's the parts that are inside the A-arm. You have the bearing, the aggravating clips, the seals, and then the bushings. So all this goes in one tube. And really that's all there is to it. It's a lot of parts for this one little, you know, 1.5-inch tube. But essentially Honda has done a beautiful job with this. Is I take a little bit of anti-seize, or you could do the grease. I just kind of like the anti-seize for the bearing. So I take a little bit of anti-seize, just kind of brush it on the bearing a little bit. You know, I always worry about things rusting and sticking. A little bit on the inside there. And then I kind of pushed it in place. It's still got to get tapped down. Take my hammer. Right here I have a 14mm socket. So you want to make sure you're trying to hit on the outer race. The outer race of the bearing. Make sure you're not just trying to jam down on the actual ball part of the bearing. If you bust that up, well then it's trash. So you don't necessarily have to beat the hell out of it. Tap it down just past that groove for the ring to go in. We went a little far, but that's okay. When I flip it over, we'll smack it back. So bearing's in. Take the clip. And it'll just slide right into that groove. Then I like to try and give it a little turn, and that tells me that it's in the groove. And you flip it over. So now we're on this side. I'm going to tap it back down. I see the groove. Clip in. So the bearing's in place. Now I'm going to fill that with grease. Then our seal goes on. Oh, that's a lot of grease. That's a lot of grease. Remember, cup side down. Let's get it flush. And then the bushing will go in. That's it. Now you just repeat on the other side. Seal, cup side, down. Get it flush. Slide in the bushing. That's it. And then just repeat. Now we're going to change the rotor, the seals, and the bearings, the hub bearings. So I'm going to slide a socket down this hole and beat on the inner race of this bearing. And this will pop out. Now on this one, I'm going to do the same thing. Beat on the inner race to knock it out. flush. Now you just do the opposite to install. Get our spider webs out. Ew. New bearings, new seals, but we'll reuse this bushing. And he sees it up. Give the bearing a few light taps. Get her started. Is acting a little stuck here. There it goes. Remember, we're going to hit on that inner race. Hit it down till it seats. Outer seal. Hit that flush. Flip it over. Do the same thing. Gonna hit on the outer race till it feels solid. Can't go down no more. Outside seal, just flush. A little bit of the C's. Inside of that seal. Slide the bushing in. And we'll flip it back over. New rotor. Now I'm going to reuse this hardware. The shiny hardware that came with these rotors does not fit. Just clean up the threads a little bit. Put some blue Loctite on them. Tight, and about an 1/8 turn. That's it. Ready for install. Let's start with the steering stem bearing. Well, guys, thanks for hanging in there. This video was a little bit longer than I really wanted it to be, but the whole front end is done. The only thing I got to really do is I'm going to get a different bumper. That's why I didn't put that on. And I still have to do the alignment with the tie rods, but I'm going to wait till I get the new tires for that one. Here's the test. Everything's tight. Everything feels great. There's no extra movement of anything. So that's what made it all worth it. I want to really thank you guys for watching this video. Hang in there with me on this project. Coming up next is going to be the whole rear end. That's a hunk of shit. Oh, I do have to bleed the brakes still. I'm just letting it gravity feed for now, kind of let it self get the air out, and then I'll finish pumping through it. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment below, let me know. I'll see you on the next one.